The Nissa Institute for Women's Development and the Gauteng Care Crisis Committee have welcomed the dismissal by the High Court of the Gauteng Department of Social Development's interdict bid against an alleged strike which was planned at its Johannesburg offices this week. Now, the department had filed an urgent application seeking to bar 455 non-governmental organizations that are registered with it, alongside those not registered with it seeking to embark on a strike at its offices. Now, this comes after a poster was allegedly circulated on a planned 3-day sit-in at the department's various offices by members of these organizations in protest against the panels set up by the department late last year to adjudicate which NPO will or will not qualify for subsidies. Lisa Vetten, Chairperson of the Gauteng Care Crisis Committee, joins us now for a reaction. Lisa, as always, thank you so much for your time. Your reaction to this ruling, please.
Well, firstly, that poster was entirely fake and seems to have been distributed by parties intent on making mischief. We, as the NPOs who belong to Gauteng Care Crisis Committee, tried to find out the origins of that poster because it doesn't even have the name of an organizer on it. It provides no contact details for anybody wanting to find out more. So it was very deeply suspicious. And we certainly had no intention of embarking on what obviously looked like an illegal sit-in that would simply result in being arrested for trespassing. So to see the DSD then attempt to interdict 455 NGOs on the basis of something that just looked like fake news was deeply concerning.
Now, Lisa, not so long ago, I think you and I had a conversation about the impact of the budget cuts for organizations that seek to assist the poor, as well as the impact thereof. So how would such a strike then impose further on the functionalities of organizations such as yourself if it were to go ahead?
So did you say the interdict?
Yes.
You know, I think the problem with the interdict was, firstly, it was incredibly vague and incredibly wide. So it didn't just seek to interdict people from participating in this imaginary sit-in tomorrow. It also tried to suggest that people should be interdicted in future from even planning and meeting impossible protest action. That was very concerning. You could interpret it to say that people are not even allowed to be discussing questions of protest and questioning the department. So it was really very, very broad. And the department did have other options open to it. For instance, it could have just sent a letter to all organizations, putting them on terms, saying, if you participate in a sit-in, we will take action against you, rather than running to court. But I mean, something this broad and wide not only attacks the integrity of organizations when it makes claims that A, they're trying to interfere with the department's ability to adjudicate, B, they're violent and dangerous and the department needs to be protected from them. That's a very destructive picture to put out of NGOs, especially when those NGOs are dealing with vulnerable people who need to feel safe with them.
Now, Lisa, did the department even attempt to at least be in contact with you and investigate and ascertain the source of that poster, as well as any links to it, at least? And how has this affected, I know you've just said, your overall reputation of organizations such as yourself, and are you planning any counteraction on your side?
Well, I think we've opposed the interdict very successfully, and I think we will continue to go ahead with the kind of work that we do and putting our beneficiaries' well-being uppermost, and we'll continue trying to advocate and asking for information about what is happening to funding. That is our right. The right to just and fair administrative action, which includes decision-making and information, is enshrined in the Constitution. So organizations are entitled to ask questions, and as long as they follow the legal processes, they're also entitled to protest and picket, should that be necessary.
And do you know, Lisa, if, the source of that actual WhatsApp poster or status has actually been traced to its original source?
No, I mean, we even tried to discover who it was, and all we could find out is that it originally came from somewhere on the West Rand. And I think that was the concern, is that if you read the department's papers, we got the poster on the Monday. The department says they got the poster on the Thursday. And they say they then immediately went to the state attorney in order to seek an interdict. Then in the next paragraph, they say, we tried to investigate and we couldn't find out who issued the poster. Well, that's contradictory. Either you went straight away to the state attorney or you investigated. But they didn't even try to contact organizations. And I think this is a potential to damage the relationship between organizations and the department. So it's really very, very disappointing that they didn't try and approach people to ask, well, what's going on? Do you know where this comes from?
And which other organizations, other than yourself, Lisa, were actually impacted by this?
Well, this is the problem, is that list. There are 455 organizations. When we looked at the original email that the state attorney sent out, some of those addresses were outdated and they were inaccurate. Many of the people who are in the organization, in the Gauteng Care Crisis Committee, didn't even know that they were the subject of an interdict until we shared the annexure that those addresses were incorrect for 4 organizations. And then when we went through the annexure, we could see that the same organization had been listed 3 times, sometimes under a slight variation on its name, that organizations that had closed up to 6 years ago were even being listed. So it just was very puzzling.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much for your contribution this evening. That is Lisa Vetten, the chairperson of the Gauteng Care Crisis Committee.